It's Americana, set on the north shore of Cayuga Lake, midway between Rochester and Syracuse. Drive the 2 blocks through downtown Fall Street, and you get a taste of Seneca Falls, a bustling Finger Lakes tourist town and a close-knit place people like to call home.
You know everybody. It's very generational. You know the grandparents, the parents, you know the next generation of all the kids.
Amy Padula Kelsey runs the only liquor store in Seneca Falls, and more than anyone else, she hears the talk of the town. Lately, her customers are buzzing about the narrow vote to save taxpayers money by dissolving the village and making it part of the town.
What I found in going door to door and in talking to people was some frustration with the level of taxes. People have a hard time making ends meet.
There's a lot of elderly people in Seneca Falls who are struggling to keep their homes because the taxes are so expensive. They saw that and they were like, we're all for it.
But here, in the birthplace of women's rights, casting a vote to keep the village was about holding on to the things money can't buy.
We had the first and only and last female mayor of the village of Seneca Falls, and she's gone, and never to have the likes of another woman again in that leadership role.
But the locals say recognizing Seneca Falls only for women's rights doesn't do it justice.
We weren't famous for just one thing. Because the railroad went right through Seneca Falls in the early 1840s, you had a lot of people and ideas coming through town. Some of us like to think that we were the Silicon Valley of the 1850s.
It was a hotbed for 20th century industry, home to companies like Sylvania and the birthplace of the steam fire engine.
We had more people employed in Seneca Falls than we had living in Seneca Falls.
And a piece of history most tourists know about.
Help me, Clarence, please. Please! I want to live again! I want to live again!
If this bridge looks familiar to you, you're not the only one. About 20 years ago, the people of Seneca Falls decided there were an awful lot of similarities between their village and George Bailey's village in It's a Wonderful Life. In fact, Frank Capra actually got his haircut here right before he made the movie.
It became kind of a game. Well, the mention of Rochester, Elmira.
Frank Carasillo runs the It's a Wonderful Life Museum. Before that, he spent 20 years as village planner. During that time in 1995, a reporter from the Finger Lakes Times paid him a visit.
He started out with, you know that movie, It's a Wonderful Life? Did you ever consider, and I finished the sentence for him, that Bedford Falls is Seneca Falls? Yes.
The Italian town barber, Tom Bellissima, admitted he once cut Frank Capra's hair, but was too embarrassed to tell anyone he didn't recognize the famous director's name.
Tom didn't know American films at all. Frank Capra didn't mean a thing to him, except that the last name means goat.
The connection was a fitting discovery for Carasillo, whose life story is a lot like George Bailey's.
The longer I stayed, the more I realized I liked it here. I started learning about local history and decided this wasn't a bad place to be, so I ended up sticking around.
That love of local history is something Carasillo shares with his neighbors. And even with the village gone, they all agree nothing can change the rich history of this place.
When people come to Seneca Falls, they don't come to the village of Seneca Falls, they come to Seneca Falls.
And everything is still here, physically the place is the same.
Now the people in this historic community are moving on, whether or not they agree with the changes.
The community, I think, will be what it is. It's a blue-collar town.
They'll look back and say that, well, it really wasn't that bad. And that's what we're looking forward to.
Making this turn from village to town, just the latest chapter to file away in the Seneca Falls history books. Olivia Fecto, NCC News.